Dear Greg, my son is 26 years old, and so far he's had terrible luck getting a job. 3 years ago, he moved back in with my wife and I, but this just is not working out. It seems like he's always in the way, coming in at all hours, making noise, watching programs we don't like on television, and leaving messes in the kitchen. I never see him out job hunting, but when I ask him about it, he says he's doing everything he can, and there just aren't any jobs out there. We're tired of having him here, but I don't see how we can make him leave either. He just doesn't have any way to make it unless he lives here at home.
From the time your son was a small child, it's been your responsibility to prepare him to go out into the world and be on his own. He needs that independence, actually, in order to become happy and strong. It may not be intentional on his part, but your son has pulled a real con job on you, and you're buying it. At 26, he's quite capable of finding a job. His first one might not be exactly what he's looking for. He's probably secretly hoping for that holy grail of jobs where they pay you to sit on the couch and watch television, and they also come to you and beg you to take the job. But he can get some kind of job and support himself. There are at least a couple of reasons that you've actually been quite willing to be deceived by your son. First, you're concerned that if you make him leave home, he might not like you. Tough. We want our children to love us because it makes us feel better. Mostly unconsciously, we use our children in that way. And in order to get their approval, we avoid teaching them the difficult lessons in life they must learn in order to be happy. Second, as we take care of our children when they depend on us, we feel needed. And that gives us a strong sense of worth and importance. If that keeps us from helping our children to be independent, though, we're actually using our children and hurting them. In our defense, it becomes especially difficult not to take care of them when they claim they just can't live without our help. It's time for your son to grow up. You need to require that he leave because you love him. Loving him means being concerned about his genuine happiness, not just his temporary comfort. Genuine happiness comes from being responsible, and you're helping him do that, even though he might be inconvenienced and even uncomfortable in the short term. Give him a specific date, at most a month or two away, and tell him that by that date he has to be completely moved out. When you have this discussion, you can't be the least bit irritated. If you are, he'll see what you're doing as a punishment, and then he'll feel like a victim and defend himself instead of seeing that this is just the next right thing for him to do. Even if you do this in a loving way, he might still react with anger. He might tell you that you're being unkind and insensitive. You can't let that change your decision. Simply repeat that you're making this decision for his benefit and that you have complete confidence in him that he'll succeed. Without meaning to, as you keep taking care of him, you're communicating the message that he's a loser and couldn't make it in life without your help. I once received this letter from a father. Dear Greg, you once told me that it was time to tell my adult son to grow up and leave our home. At first, I found that very difficult to accept, even frightening. But then I began to see that he would never learn to be responsible and independent as long as we gave him everything he wanted. I firmly but kindly told him why he needed to be independent, and I gave him a month to find a job and a place to live. I even offered to help him find an apartment. 1 week before the date arrived, he said he needed more time, but I just repeated the date and expressed my confidence that he could do it. Within 2 days, he had a job and an apartment. Amazing, considering that he hadn't been able to find one for a year before that. After he moved, he was mad at me for a couple of months, but one day he said, Dad, I was pretty mad at you when you made me leave, but now I have to admit you were right. I've learned a lot of things since being out on my own about people, about being responsible and other things that I wouldn't have learned if I'd stayed at home. I'm glad that I had the courage to take your advice. It's helped both my son and me. Our children need to grow up, and we need to let them. If we love them as we teach them, they will. It's always about real love.